The council meeting agenda of the City of Summerside, June 19th, 2023, it being 6:35 p.m. We will begin with an approval of the agenda. Now, I was just having a conversation with a resident who would like to put forward a question to council at the earlier stages of tonight's meeting. I think procedurally, the way that would work is that then I put it out to council to vote whether or not they want to receive a question from a member of the public. Council then decides whether they do or not. I think generally the purpose of that is council meetings aren't just a forum to ask questions from members of the public, but council can certainly go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just put a note to put that out to council after we proceed with the conflict of interest declaration so that we can get that done at the front end of the meeting. I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda as presented here. Councillor Gallant, second. Councillor Duran, all in favor of the agenda as presented? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, we'll proceed. I'll begin with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Abogoi is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Land acknowledgement is a small but meaningful way of showing respect and honoring the indigenous peoples of the land where we live. It's also a way of resisting the erasure of indigenous histories and an important step on the pathway towards reconciliation. I'd ask any councillor to identify now if they have any conflicts with any of the items on the agenda tonight. Hearing no declarations of a conflict of interest, I'll move on now to before going into number 2, I would just put it out to council. I think it was Dan had wanted to ask a question to council, so I would put that out to council if council would be willing to accept a question and hear Dan. Dan did say it would only take a minute. Yeah, and maybe if any councillors opposed. Hearing none, go ahead, Dan. And if you could state your name and general address, that would be great.
Thank you. My name is Dan. I'm currently unhoused in Summerside. I attended, again, I thank you for your time. I attended a forum on homelessness this morning in Charlottetown at the Murchison Center, along with Ivy Ink Pen and a few other Summerside residents. I did not see any of your faces there. I would just like to ask, why didn't I see any representation from the municipality of Summerside at that meeting today?
I think that's a great question because I did see.
It can be a broad question to all of you. You can jump in or individually around.
Yeah, I guess I can.
I'd just like an answer.
Sure.
I'm currently unhoused. You guys know there's a housing crisis here in Summerside. Why was nobody there?
Sure, Councillor Duran, do you want to?
Yeah, obviously I can only answer for myself. Simple answer, I was unaware of it and I wasn't invited.
Your mayor was aware of it?
I'm answering for myself, not for my mayor.
Okay. So, Mr. Kutcher, Mayor Kutcher, if you were aware of it, I'd like to ask you why you didn't make your councillors aware of it, because from what I understand, you were away. I understand you not being there, but why did you not delegate someone to go in your place?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I just saw I think I was on one of these Facebook groups, PI Unhoused. I forget what it is. There's a couple of Facebook groups on housing, and I do look at them from time to time. That's when I saw it on Friday, that it was happening on Monday, and then I looked at it and I had 2 scheduling conflicts. I didn't send it to council. So I didn't receive any formal invitation. Ivy did.
From what I understand, you've been sent invitations to it. I mean, I understand if you weren't able to attend, but between Friday and Monday, was that not ample enough time to send someone in your place to represent the community, to represent council?
I think it would have been great if someone invited council. I also, yes, I guess I could have forwarded that I saw on Facebook along over the course of a weekend. But I was kind of happy to know that it was happening, but disappointed to know that we weren't even made aware of it.
You
You know,
were
if-
made aware of it. You were sent invitations to it.
We were not sent an invitation.
I'm sorry?
I was not sent any invitations to the event, unfortunately.
I've been led to believe differently, but I could be wrong.
The organizer of the event, no one sent any invitation to me. I saw the invitation on Facebook, and then I had a message from Ivy or a Facebook comment. And to be honest, we get dozens and dozens of Facebook comments. A Facebook comment saying, Dan Kuchar, are you going to this? Isn't an invitation that I can then share with the rest of council. I hope it was valuable. I was disappointed to not be made aware of it because it looked really interesting. I did look at the other dates that were available to see if there was one in Summerside, there was one in Moncton, there was one in Halifax, there was one in Guelph. And I did look at the speaker, so I'm not
Okay.
absent on the issue.
Okay. I know you're present and you're doing your best for it. I would like to point out, however, that Mayor Philip Brown of Charlottetown was there along with his CAO and possibly others from his camp. I'd just like to say, please do better in the future going forward. Thank you.
And just to,
Yeah, sure.
thank you for the question, and thank you for bringing it up. The first time I did hear about it was this morning when I was pulling into work. I heard it on the news, and I thought, oh, wonder who's going to that. And I did actually go in and check the city email to see if
Yeah.
we had missed, or I had missed something, and there was nothing sent to us on it.
As public servants, is it not your job to be aware of these things? Not you directly, but all of you, like, as you all know, there is a housing crisis in, not just Summerside, but everywhere, but
No, and I totally appreciate
there are people
what you're
trying to
saying.
get your
Yep.
ears about things.
But the organizers of the group, if they did send out invitations, we were one group that they missed sending it to, and I am not a part of any Facebook group that had it.
Right.
I didn't notice it, so,
Okay.
my apologies for not being
Thank
there.
you for your.
The best way to be is if we could have an email, because everything was in my calendar. I was in Charlottetown this morning for 2 other meetings, and maybe I could have made it, but I was not aware of it. So,
Okay.
anyway, I think the best thing going forward is to send the city an email to get it into councilors' calendars. So there's a lot in there, so.
So
Thanks.
is that the best way for myself or anybody present or anybody watching? Is that the city email, is that the best way to keep you guys updated on things?
I think any
Tagging on
email,
Facebook
even
or-
if someone had sent me an email about it,
Okay.
that would have been great. Again, tagging someone in a Facebook post isn't an
No.
invitation, and especially 3 days before. People here, councillors, do have families and commitments and things to do as well. And there are lots and lots of important issues, and we need to be able to, we do our best to try and make sure people are represented. And again, like I said, I think we're disappointed
Yeah.
that we didn't know that it was even happening. And, as well, it's not unusual for sometimes someone to not invite Summerside to something that's happening in Charlottetown. It's certainly an issue that's affecting our community greatly that we've spoken about quite a lot.
Okay.
And I'll just.
Yeah.
I'll just speak to it as well. I didn't know about it. I'm not on Facebook as often as my colleagues. I think sometimes a lot of, just like any of our residents, some people, if it comes in a paper form, such as a flyer, if the main office was made aware of it, those kinds of things. And also just to really think about it, sometimes in our calendar, sometimes we're trying to juggle 3, 4 different things in one day. Some of us do work, some of us work full-time, some part-time, some of us are caregivers to ill family members. So there's a lot of things that, we're trying to juggle, and if it's missed, I don't think it's intentional.
Okay.
So if we were made aware, that would be good to know.
Okay. So just to clarify, is there one main email that will kind of get passed around to all of you, or does someone need to find each of your emails individually and send it to all of you?
I think an email invitation in this case to myself or any of council would have been
There is
helpful.
There
You
is
could
an
send it
email
to me, there
address
is a
that
city-
actually works as there's an email address, I think it's like counselors@city, and it ends up going to all of us.
Yeah,
I assume it's on the website?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Okay, great, thanks, Dan. Okay, we'll move on to item 2, which is approval of minutes. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of minutes here for approval. The first planning board meeting of May 15, 2023. I'll be looking for a motion to move the approval of those minutes and a second, and it would have to be members of the planning board, and there are 2 here in addition to myself. So moved by Councillor Duran, second Councillor Morrison. All members of planning board approve the minutes, can say aye. Aye. Hearing none here to be opposed, those minutes will be carried and adopted. Second, motion to approve the monthly council meeting of May 15th, 2023. Motion from Councillor Gallant, second Councillor McColman. Adoption of all minutes, please say aye. Any opposed to those minutes or changes? Hearing none, those minutes are adopted. Third, a motion for adoption of the special council meeting minutes of May 18th, 2023. Motion from Councillor Gallant, second Councillor McDougall. All in favor of those minutes? Any opposed? None, no changes. Those are adopted. Minutes of the planning board meeting of June 6th, 2023. Same thing for planning board. Motion to approve those minutes. Motion from Councillor Morrison, second Councillor Duran. All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed, as there are none here to oppose. Those planning minutes are now carried. And the last is the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of June 6, 2023. Motion to approve those minutes. Councillor Gallant, second. Councillor McDougall. All in favor of the minutes, say aye. Any changes or nope. Any opposed? None. We'll adopt and carry those. Geez, we should almost just do one motion for all the minutes that are set out there. We'll now move on to item 3, which is an opportunity for any councillor to put forward any accolades or recognitions from members of the community or anything in particular.
Your worship.
Thank you, Councillor.
I just wanted to give recognition to Summerside Intermediate School and the Rotary Club of Summerside. I was able to attend along with Councillor Morrison and Deputy Mayor Snow, and you were in Newfoundland at a convention. So, but anyway, Summerside Intermediate, it's their second year hosting a literacy program through the support and working arrangement with community partners, the Rotary, and education. And it was really nice to see that at their Rotary Assembly on the Rotary Book Day, each student received a book through grade 7 to grade, 7, 8, and 9, sorry, and for summer reading, just to help with literacy and any information that would be forgot over the summer. So I think it's a very important program to have that literacy awareness for young people. So I just want to shout out to all their work that they did.
Thank you, Councillor. Any others? Hearing none, now we'll move into the public presentations, petitions, delegations portion of tonight's meeting. The first is a presentation from the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, an award presented by Mike Dolter. Hope I got that right, Mike, last name?
You did perfect.
There we
Mr. Mayor.
go.
Thank you very much. I'm going to use technology here, so just bear with me. No, it's a pleasure to be here this evening. Mayor Kuchar, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to represent the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators this evening, or CAMA, to present the award to the City of Summerside for the Environmental Leadership and Sustainability Award. I am the representative for Nova Scotian PEI. I must apologize, first time since I've been on the board that I've actually been able to visit in PEI, so, but it's very nice to be here. I'm also the CAO for the town of Truro, Nova Scotia. I'd like to thank Gordon for his membership and support of our association. It was great to see him and his deputy CAO at the conference in Deerhurst this year, which we were just discussing before tonight's meeting. So each year, CAMA recognizes the value of excellence and professionalism in municipal administration through an annual awards program in 4 areas of program excellence, and that's innovation, environmental leadership and sustainability, professional development, and collaboration with external organizations and municipalities. Awards are presented to local governments and their chief administrators in recognition of their creative and successful programs, projects, or services. The annual awards program has been designed to encourage excellence in the art of professional administration. Success stories are circulated widely to provide CAMA members and other government managers with new ideas that may prove useful for implementation in their own communities. Because Canada has a unique mixture of small and large communities, the awards for innovation, environmental leadership and sustainability, and professional development are granted according to population. So we offer three population categories: for municipalities for populations under 20,000, for municipalities for populations between 20,001 and 100,000, and for those over 100,000. So we're very pleased to have received this year over 35 award nominations that were all of really excellent quality. We were concerned a little bit after COVID how that would go. The following evaluation criteria are used by the committee when reviewing the submissions. The extent that the programs, projects, or services involves innovation, creativity, or exemplifies a significant change, its impact on the profession of municipal administration, the potential a program, project, or service possesses to enhance the practices of administrators elsewhere, and the degree of their transferability to other local governments, the impact of the program, project, services on municipalities and on the organizations, even if the innovation itself was not new to the profession, and sustainability of the results, their long-lasting positive, measurable effects on the success of the organization. So the Environmental Leadership and Sustainability Award recognizes the dedication to environmental sustainability excellence in projects that meet the needs present without compromising the future. This may include standout projects or innovations, or apply to the improvement of corporate processes that demonstrate a real benefit to the environment. Sustainability may refer to both the environmental considerations and wider sustainability impacts on people, resources, and communities. So the reason I'm here tonight, this year's winner of the Environmental Leadership and Sustainability Award for municipalities for a population under 20,000 is the City of Summerside for your Summerside Sunbank project. And there is a video.
Congratulations to the City of Summerside PEI, winner of the 2023 CAMA Environment and Sustainability Award in the under 20,000 population category for its Summerside Sunbank project. A thriving economy requires strategic investments in infrastructure and programs that enhance, enrich, and evolve a community. Sunbank, a $68 million renewable energy project, is a shining example of public-private sector collaboration to ensure long-term energy resource delivery. This project's primary mandate is to integrate large-scale solar photovoltaic or PV generation and storage in a way that is impactful, responsive, and eco-conscious. This builds on the city's existing wind capacity to forecast, schedule, and operate resources. It is expected to reduce imports of electricity from 58% to 38% and enable Summerside to become 62% green for its electricity needs. The investment in Sunbank has allowed Summerside to sustainably enhance its service delivery, focus on environmental stewardship as the driving tenet of the approach, and capture necessary skill development in its overall execution and legacy to provide a core service: energy. The overriding benefit for the municipality is ensuring that when core services are delivered in the most fiscally and environmentally prudent way, it ensures that everyone has the capacity to participate and benefit from the investment. Congratulations to the City of Summerside PEI, winner of the 2023 CAMA Environment and Sustainability Award.
Sure, I'll come up. Before I do, I just want to take a moment to say that I've been the mayor for 6 months, and I know Mayor Stewart, and before him, Mayor Martin, and this council, as well as the previous two councils, all worked on it, as well as so many staff here at the city of Summerside. So receiving this award on behalf of everybody here in Summerside who's worked on it, and the entire community who has invested its time and support to make sure that we do our part here in Summerside. To mitigate the impacts of climate change and reduce carbon emissions in a thoughtful, intelligent way that moves our city forward and puts us on the map as a leader on this path. And so we're taking this for everybody. So certainly I would say thank you as well to everyone who has been here before us, and to you, and for CAMA's recognition of that hard work.
Thanks very much, and it's a fantastic project, which certainly deserves the recognition it's getting. So thanks very much.
At this point, we'll move into the first of two presentations. One of the things we try and do here in council is make sure that we understand what's going on in our community and invite, not just wait for, but invite organizations in our community who are doing good work to help share what they're doing, so we have a better understanding and knowledge, and we can work better together as a community. So I'd like to welcome up Lauren to make a presentation from Peers Alliance.
Thank you. This is my coworker Hannah as well. She'll be joining me. Are you sure? Okay, cool. We'll do that.
We'll do that.
Yeah, perfect. And we both have a slide.
We're like, oh, we're celebrities here. It's great. Oh. So hi everyone. Thank you so much for having us here today. We're very excited to come and speak with you folks and kind of teach you a little bit more about what we do here specifically in Summerside. So our organization is a not-for-profit organization that focuses on many different marginalized communities across the island, but we are specializing right now in Charlottetown and especially here in Summerside. So today we're just going to give you a hopefully fairly brief overview of what our organization does and kind of our impact on the community here. So as we roll forward, my name is Hannah Barton. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns, and I am a youth program coordinator with Peers Alliance. I will be explaining a little bit further down in our presentation what that means and what my job entails, so you know what your youth are up to when they come to my type of programming.
Thank you, Hannah. My name's Lauren Shado. I use she, her pronouns, and I am peer team coordinator working within rural PEI through our harm reduction program. So we'll kind of get into what different programs what they look like in PEI, and specifically focus on the one within Summerside and then rural PEI as well.
So today we're going to do a brief overview of our history, our mission and values, our street outreach team and our rural outreach team and what those look like, our programming and some of our specific programs that we run, what happens in our Summerside office specifically, and we're going to open it up for some closing and some questions with you folks as well. So to give a brief overview, we formerly were known as AIDS PEI, and we were formed in the early 1990s as a response to the AIDS epidemic. We specifically focused on folks who were experiencing symptoms of AIDS, who knew folks with AIDS and HIV, and our organization kind of developed to cater to a lot of different communities as well, including those experiencing homelessness and those who use substances. So in 2013, we included Hep C along with all sexually transmitted infections, and that's where you get the STBBI acronym, which is sexually transmitted bloodborne infections. So a lot of our programming and our educational pieces specifically focus on STBBIs. So we teach about STBBIs in classrooms as well as within community settings. And then in 2016, we realized that we kind of needed to reevaluate what our organization meant, because we were focusing on a lot more than just AIDS in all of the different things that we were, like, folks we were catering to. So in 2017, our organization kind of did a restructuring and a remodeling to be known as Peers Alliance. So it is actually an acronym, so prevent, educate, empower, respect, and support. And all 5 of those have a different meaning depending on what type of area you are in our organization. So preventing homelessness, preventing overdose, preventing STBBIs, educating, getting in the communities, teaching people and helping people understand things that they maybe did not know before. Empowerment, we are working with communities who are extremely marginalized and unfortunately are oppressed in many different ways. So finding the best ways to empower people and to respect their boundaries and to respect, you know, everyone, meeting everyone where they are, not where we think they should be. And supporting, offering support in any way that we can, whether that is physically providing them with items that they need, like a sleeping bag or a naloxone kit or just someone to talk to. We do our best to kind of be there at the ground level with as many folks as we can.
So our mission at Peers Alliance is to educate, engage, and support island residents to build healthier, inclusive communities and to end the stigma surrounding sexual health and drug use using a trauma-informed approach, basing our vision and our mission on trauma-informed and also harm reduction. So we'll kind of go into those a little bit more as well. And our vision for beautiful PEI would be to all live in a stigma-free, sex-positive, inclusive island, free from any drug-related harms. So I'll kind of go in to my kind of expertise, for a lack of better terms. I work with the harm reduction side of Peers Alliance, so it's kind of split up into different categories. So we have a street outreach team that works in Charlottetown at the Outreach Center, is also on the ground, like through the communities. We run a satellite needle exchange with the local needle exchanges in each community. So we have sterile supplies, whether that be injection supplies for drug use, syringes, all of those different types of things. And then just in this last like year or so, coming up onto a year, we've launched our Rural Outreach Project, which I oversee. So it's kind of taking those initiatives that we work and we do within Charlottetown community, and to be able to kind of widen our scope within rural PEI, because we do realize that there is such a gap within services for folks in Summerside, West Prince, within Kings County. So we just kind of have more of, I'm trying to pull everyone together. So the Rural Outreach Project is peer-led, so we have folks, it's designed for folks who use substances in rural communities to gain access to sterile use equipment and supplies, service navigation, and access other resources that we may have available to them, or other resources that they're looking for within their community. And it's run by peers for peers. So folks with lived or living experience of substance use know more about what they're seeing in their own trends in their own communities and networks of folks. So we have peer leads island-wide. We have a couple here in Summerside already that are on the ground doing some outreach work. We have a couple up west and a couple that are kind of Charlottetown East as well. And what they do, myself included, would be we would distribute naloxone kits and the appropriate training for those, safe sterile conception equipment, whether that be for IV injection drug use or smoking as well. And in the last little while, we've just adopted and brought in drug testing strips with the amount of fentanyl that's been turned up in street source drugs and supply. So giving folks the tools to be able to test their substances and then make different what's the word I'm looking for? Practices. Whether someone just chooses to not use their substance of choice, and most times that's not a reality for some folks. So to be able to make some safer and different decisions. We also collect sharps and any hazardous waste disposal. We take those to the needle exchange as well. And then any harm reduction resources, whether that be folks looking for different methods of consumption to kind of lessen those health risks as well. And this project is made possible with funding and support by Health Canada and its Substance Use and Addictions Program. So the Rural Outreach Project objectives, and it's kind of what our peer leaders on the ground, what they're doing and what their role within their communities and their networks look like. Basically, it's to increase the availability of harm reduction services and supports for those folks that are not in the Charlottetown area. And it's through peer-led outreach activities, like I said. So those people in those harder, more rural areas of PEI kind of have a better understanding of where people exactly are in their substance use and able to use their own networks and communities to be able to then go distribute these supplies. The increase of adoption of protective behaviors by rural consumers engaged through peer-led outreach activities, reduce incident of drug-related harms among rural and small-town consumers through ongoing peer-led outreach in rural communities. Our peer leaders participate in learning and skill development opportunities as well. So we, hold different development days, whether that's based on naloxone training. We kind of open it more discussions to see what each peer lead is seeing in their own communities. Distribute harm reduction tools and information. Like I said, those could be those safe use kits, those naloxone kits, as well as those drug testing supplies as well. Support the collection of used drug consumption equipment, needles and pipes when and if possible. And if someone is not comfortable going and disposing of those items, I myself can go and grab them as well. And so they work with myself. We track harm reduction materials and data collection just to make sure that folks are being met where they're at. So a big thing that we focus on is overdose prevention. An overdose can happen to anyone consuming any type of substances. We aim to be able to help prevent those overdoses from happening and equip people with the knowledge and resources to respond if one does occur. So we distribute naloxone kits for opioid-related overdoses. We do any sorts of training, whether that be in person or getting folks set up with the online training tutorials as well. Fentanyl test strips, and then we also are very heavily promoting different types of services for overdose prevention, whether that be NORS, which is a toll-free, peer-led 24-hour support line for folks to be able to call in. And there's also BRAVE, which is just the exact same form, but just in an app form. And folks are able to then, if you're consuming by yourself, to be on the other end of a phone call or an app with a peer to then be able to assess their situation if they are unresponsive and call EMS. So through our approach with all of our harm reduction projects and team, we want to make sure that everyone's trauma informed and using a framework that promotes the health and human rights of people who use drugs. A big thing is meeting people where they're at and not where we want them to be. And many of these drug-related harms are rooted in prohibition, criminalization, and other social and systemic factors that marginalize and stigmatize folks who use drugs. This set of principles, strategies known to reduce harms associated with drugs use, drug policies, and drug laws. So harm reduction is kind of the root of all of the work that we do. And making sure that everyone is trauma informed. So recognizing that trauma in our society and traumas that we all go through, and understanding that these ways, understanding the ways in which trauma can impact our mental processes, behaviors, and our health. We all want to be making sure that we're working to ensure people feel safe and are not re-traumatized in the work that we do. So we want to make sure that we're being transparent and open with everyone that everyone we're working with. Ultimately, is their choice on what they are doing, but as long as we're fostering trust and making sure that folks are participating in what they are the healthiest and the safest way possible.
So switching gears a little bit, my job is very different than what Lauren does. As you can see, mine has a fun, furious looking little cat sitting behind a computer. This is me. Sometimes I look like a furious little cat typing at my computer, creating youth programming. And other days I'm like the cat when it has zoomies running around playing with a bunch of toys. So my job changes pretty much every single day. So as a youth program coordinator, I do many different things, including developing educational programming about gender identity and sexual orientation, or SOGI. I develop educational resources for teachers and administration staff regarding homophobia and transphobia in the classroom, which is a collaboration that we are going to be working very closely with the Public Schools Board with for hopefully implementation in the fall. We work very, very closely with the Public Schools Branch. All of our programming and educational tools are all PSB approved. So part of my job is I actually go into classrooms and I teach students about from safe sex and consent to sexual orientation and bullying and what that all looks like, as well as providing a space for youth to have commentary about those things and how it actually impacts their lives in real time. Another huge component of my job is actually running programming for queer youth, or for youth who identify under the 2S LGBTQ+ umbrella. So I actually run a youth group every 2 weeks out of the Inspire Learning Center, and it's basically 2 hours where we get to have a youth-led conversation about anything that they want to talk about. It's a youth kind of inspired as well as run conversation. We do crafts, we make cookies on some days, and sometimes we just sit there and we make bracelets with each other and do icebreakers. And it's just kind of a safe, open space for youth to just come and be, where they have no responsibilities or expectation to be anybody than who they would like to be for 2 hours. We also run a camp now. It is a 3-night, 4-day sleepover camp for queer youth. It's the first of its kind on the island. We ran it last year with 26 youth, and it was phenomenal and a 4-day blast. And it's named Camp Aspen. So a big part of my job is planning that, and then in August we will be implementing that again, which is going to be great. Having the Summerside drop-in space, so I do have a physical office space in the Inspire Learning Center up on the 2nd floor, with a giant Progress Pride flag painted on the wall, which is pretty cool when you have a youth come in and they're just like, wow, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's just very welcoming and accepting, but that's a sidebar. And so what I try to do is foster a space where youth can just come and hang out after school a couple nights a week, in the, between the 3 and the 5 p.m. mark, for folks just to have a place to, again, just be who they are, to rest or to do homework or hang out with some friends. Sometimes I also do some youth and parent counseling, where I have conversations to basically either educate parents or youth on maybe things they do not know or things they want to know more about. And more, because this slide is already so full. The plate continues to grow with the amount of things that myself and the other youth program coordinators do, and it kind of changes from day to day, but this is the biggest overview. Moving forward, I'm going to give a brief overview. I've kind of already touched on these things, talking about our programming. So we have the PEI Queer Youth Collective. This is an initiative that it has been running in Summerside for the last 4 years. I believe this is the end of our 5th. And it's for youth ages between 12 and 18. It's 2 hours of programming every 2 weeks, of anyone of any gender identity or sexual orientation. This year we were able to expand. We have it in Charlottetown, Summerside, and now we also have it in East Prince or in Montague. And they run once a month out of Montague and are potentially increasing that depending on what things look like next year. But has been like a wonderful success in that we're able to kind of grow further and further and be able to offer programming for more and more youth every year. Speaking specifically for the PEI, like for the Summerside QIC, last year our like average number was 4 youth. This year we have increased all the way up to 20 youth, which we've grown by 2 people every single youth group, so 4 people a month, which has been very, very wonderful and rewarding to feel and see. So it's really lovely to see like real change happen in real time. Another programming that is now starting in Summerside as well is our Roots and Shoots programming. We are actually going to be having our last one of this school year tomorrow night. This is a program for youth and for parents of gender creative children and trans children as well. They are 2 different groups, but at the same time. So they happen in 2 different spots in the library. So what this is it's basically programming for youth to go to while their parents or their guardians or the adults in their lives go to a support group for parents, adults, for trans and gender creative youth. This is to be able to offer support not only to the youth, but also to parents who maybe have questions, who don't know how to appropriately ask their child or whom they are in their care, as well as if there are adults and maybe they want to know more about themselves as well. It's just to offer another space for people to politely question and to learn and to kind of create community and connections. The Roots and Shoots programming was actually, it started in Charlottetown, and what it was a group of parents would drop their children off at the Queer Youth Collective in Charlottetown, and they would go get coffee. And they would talk about everything that was going on in their lives, including their experiences with their children and how that felt like and how they wanted to create a better community for parents to be able to have honest, open conversations. And it's blossomed and developed into larger programmings that we are catering all the way down to kids who are under the age of, like around the age of 5, all the way up to adults now. So we're doing our best to reach as many people as possible. So the development and the expansion into Summerside has happened now for the last 2 months. Tomorrow will be our last evening of it for this year, and we'll be back in September. And it will be a monthly thing, so next year we get to do the whole school year, which is going to be great. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Camp Aspen. So this is our programming I was speaking to a little bit earlier. That is our 4-day, 3-night summer camp for youth ages 14 to 18. It's at Camp Abbey or Camp Abaquit in Borden Carlton. And we run basically all sorts of camp type fun things. We go to the beach, we have campfires, we play camp-wide games, as well as we have workshops we have a steering committee of youth who have previously been to camp last year, and we're like, these are the things we liked, these are the things we didn't like so much. And these are the workshops and the things we want to learn about. So what we do is we take all of those ideas and that information and we implement it. So this year we are going to have hopefully around 6 workshops, 2 every morning, and they switch. So all youth have an opportunity to go to every single workshop if they so choose. And then in the afternoon is just going to be fun summer camp time, and a place for youth and to just go and again just be who they are for 4 days. Last year it was just pure magic of seeing 26 youth just having an absolute blast, and just wholeheartedly being every part of who they were and who they are, without any regrets or any shame. And it's probably one of my biggest highlights of my job is getting to see that happen for a youth where they're just like, I am myself 100%, and it's so wholesome and lovely. But Camp Abbey this year has been so lovely that they've given us like a longer slot right in the middle of August. So it will be on the 14th until the 17th of this year, and so far we have 30 campers registered, and we've already had to create a wait list. So we're very much looking forward to having as many youth as we possibly can there without having too many having the proper ratio. So that's Camp Aspen, and that's
I think
that's everything from us for today. So now we know we have been speaking at you for a solid chunk of time. So we would like to open, if you folks have any questions for us about anything our organization has done in the past, is currently doing, any of our programming, or anything specifically with harm reduction, you may ask us now, or our emails are provided here, and we also have our cards with us today if you would like to talk to us later, if you have a further question about some stuff.
Any questions from council? Just thank you, Lauren and Hannah, and I would, I've been to the office. The wall is amazing, the sign's amazing, and thank you for all the work that you're doing in our community to empower people to be themselves and help support our most vulnerable. I thought it was really helpful to know. I know Peers is relatively new. When did Peers Alliance, new in Summerside, move into the Summerside space?
Yeah, so we, as of July 1st, will have been there for a year. So, yeah, we're still, I think, getting our bearings in Summerside. But it's been great to actually have a physical location, instead of, you know, coming for youth groups and being like, okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Good luck. Where now we have a physical space where if youth are like, hey, I need someone to talk to, or I just need somewhere to sit down for 35 minutes. It's been nice to have a space where I can also land. I live up west, so it's easier, and I'm actually physically in the Summerside space a lot more often than in the Charlottetown one.
I do a lot of my rural outreach from my car, so I'm in Summerside a couple days a week. I go up west and do a lot of outreach there. So it's nice to have the office to have a little like drop-in spot if anyone needs to get connected with any harm reduction supports or myself, rather than kind of making the trek all the way to Charlottetown, since that isn't as easily accessible for some folks that I tend to work with. So it's a great spot. So if you ever want to drop in,
Yes.
it's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming in. And then we have your contact information, so if folks want to follow up with anything specific, we can.
Awesome.
And
Thank
great way
you.
to share what you're doing. So thank you very much.
No,
You're in
thank
our
you.
community.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. And we don't usually clap at the end of things, but I think we always feel like, so we're clapping in our heads when councils were somber. Okay, like feeling the love, that's good, that's important. Awesome, we'll move on to the next item here, and the next is another presentation. This is from Pam, with CEO, ED, I'll forget the exact, yeah, of Habitat for Humanity PEI, also a member of the Mayor's Task Force on Attainable Housing. Nice to see you, Pam.
My name's Pam Scaron-Montgomery, and I'm CEO of Habitat for Humanity. My goal tonight is to reintroduce to many of you Habitat for Humanity's mission, what we've been doing for the past little bit, and hopefully what we hope to do in the future, and some changes that are affecting all of us as islanders as we deal with the affordable housing crisis. A couple of numbers that I want you guys to keep in mind as we go through this process or presentation. Average price of a home in Prince Edward Island as of April 2023 is $380,000. The average household income in Summerside is $63,200. If you were to mortgage the $380,000 home, your average monthly mortgage payment would be $2,200. Just keep those numbers in mind as we're going through this. clicks. Habitat for Humanity, PEI, our mission is to bring communities together to help families build strength, stability, and independence through affordable homeownership. Habitat for Humanity has been around for quite some time. Since 1976, Habitat for Humanity has helped more than 29 million people in 70 countries build or improve a place to call home. Habitat for Humanity International was founded in Americus, Georgia by a couple called Millard and Linda Fuller, who started an interracial farm in Americus, Georgia, where volunteers and community members built housing side by side. And the original development is still a big part of Habitat for Humanity today. If you ever get a chance, go see it, it's pretty cool. Habitat for Humanity is a federated model. We are not a franchise, we're a federation. Habitat for Humanity International provides policy and direction for Habitat affiliates globally. Habitat for Humanity Canada is an affiliate of Habitat for Humanity International, and they enforce the rules or policy and direction of Habitat for Humanity International. Steward national fundraising efforts for the 46 Canadian affiliates, and develop and distribute funds raised nationally, and also are partners with CMHC and other federal organizations. And as I had said before, there are 46 local Habitat for Humanity affiliations across the country, of which Habitat for Humanity PEI is one. Local Habitat for Humanity affiliates are independently incorporated entities responsible for the policy and direction of Habitat for Humanity within their geographical boundaries, and they are 46 of us nationally. Majority of which are in Ontario. I think out of the 46, I think 27 of the affiliates are in Ontario. This is our current board of directors. We have recently onboarded 2 people from Summerside, so I'm pretty excited about that. Matt Totten is going to serve as our treasurer, and Nathan Steves is a longstanding board member. And I don't know if you guys would know Jordan McDonald from, he's from West Prince. He's executive director of Develop West Prince. So we're pretty excited to be moving further west, at least I am. Don't laugh too hard. Habitat for Humanity Canada and all Habitat for Humanity affiliates, we play in one space in the housing spectrum. What we do and what we offer are affordable home ownership opportunities. In the past, and since I've been in this role, I'm asked a lot, if we give homes away, do we provide social housing? No, we don't. We provide affordable home ownership opportunities. Our homes are mortgaged to our partner families. What that does for movement along the housing spectrum is it opens up space behind us in social housing and supported housing so that we can transition people through affordable home ownership and hopefully into market rate or market home ownership or market rental. There's been some challenges with that because of the homelessness issue and because of the affordable component of it. But we're quite confident that with partnering with groups that support homelessness and social and supported housing, we can work to identify people and families who are ready for the challenge of home ownership and support them in the movement through the spectrum and provide home ownership opportunities. We know that every Habitat home provides a significant impact in community. Research has shown that every Habitat home generates at least $200,000 worth of benefits to society. And we know this because before moving into Habitat housing, 37% of families were in social or supported housing. We know that through the research and the data that we collect from our partner families, their quality of employment improves, and they also report having to work fewer jobs and greater sustainability. A big component of our work is being charitable and volunteering, and our partner families are no different. 70% of Habitat families donate their time and money to charities. And we also know that children who grow up in Habitat homes are more likely to achieve a bachelor's degree or higher. part of how we fund our operations or how we support ourselves is through our Restore. Restore is our social enterprise, and it is a retail operation. Generally, we supply or sell gently used building materials, home goods, and decor. And it's located in, easiest way to explain it is it's down the road from the liquor store between Sherwood Building Supplies and Leon's. And we give those directions out every day. Our Restore's been quite successful. A big piece of our mission with Restore is not only to act as a social enterprise that helps us fund our operations and contributes to building homes, but also we divert a considerable amount of product from the landfill. On average, and this is a little higher, these are numbers from 2021. I know because of the increase that we've seen in our sales that this number is higher, but in 2021 we estimated that we diverted at least 760,000 pounds of product from landfill. We're estimating now that that's closer to 900. So that's a big part of our mission, is to recycle and repurpose products with our Restore. We currently have a full-time staff of 6 and probably 10 to 12 volunteers who help us operate our Restore. Oh, another piece of Restore, I forgot this slide was in here, sorry. One way that we help generate product for the Restore, we offer a free salvage program with kitchen and bath. Anyway, sorry, forgot the slide was in there. Specifically who we serve. We serve families who are ready for the responsibility and challenge of affordable home ownership but wouldn't qualify for a traditional mortgage. To be a Habitat partner family, we need that you can demonstrate 2 years of stable employment, that you're a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, and that you're willing to partner with us to complete 500 volunteer hours. And again, part of the application, prospective home owners must demonstrate that they are in need of suitable housing, that you can make affordable mortgage payments, and that you're willing to partner with us. Traditionally, a Habitat mortgage has looked like this: 0 down payment, 0 interest, with 30% of your gross income going towards mortgage payments and taxes. So the example that I gave of the $380,000 house, the first, making gross household income of $63,000, your 30% minimum payment with Habitat for Humanity PEI would be $1,580. Because of the changes to, economy, COVID, housing crisis, inflation, increasing interest rates, how we build homes and how we mortgage our homes to our partner families, we've been faced with some challenges with that. So our classic mortgage model, which I just explained to you, the 0%, 0 down, 30% of your gross household income, part of the challenge is we cash flow those builds. And by collecting 30% of your gross income, which we assess annually, makes for a very long return on that investment. It's also a disincentive, and this I know is counterintuitive to the social impact slide that I shared earlier, but it is a little bit of a disincentive for our partner families to continue to declare higher income on a yearly basis, because every year you need to report your income to us, and we take 30% of that. So we know that there's a little bit of a disincentive. We also know, although all our mortgages, Habitat for Humanity, we hold right of first refusal on the sale of those properties. In the past, those right of first refusal agreements have been written with right of first refusal at fair market value. And for us as an organization, to be able to cash flow those builds to build them and then cash flow them to buy them back isn't the best math for an operation. So Habitats actually nationally and internationally are looking at how to evolve our mortgage model to suit the economy and the times that we're in. And what we've come up with and what we hope to pilot here in Summerside in the very near future is what we're calling a partial equity or first lender or commercial mortgage model. And what that looks like is partnering with our credit union to secure 50% loan to value, which our partner family would need to qualify for. So on that $380,000, they'd go to the credit union with we would negotiate a less than market rate interest rate for that program. And so they would qualify the loan, we would secure the second, and then we would maintain the right of first refusal with a graduated equity component in it, where the partner family would actually be incentivized to move through the housing spectrum and cash out between years 6 and 10. You guys say, why would you do that, Pam? Well, we do that because we want to see people create that financial stability, that independence, and move through the spectrum. So, because the other challenge that we have with our classic mortgage model is and this isn't a bad thing, is they're people's forever homes or they sell them at market. When they sell them at market, that removes that home from the affordable envelope. So those donor dollars, those volunteer hours that went into buying that home are no longer within the affordable envelope. So that's a little bit of a disincentive for us. With a strong buyback program, incentivizing our partner families to move through the housing spectrum allows us to serve potentially 6 to 7 partner families with that one unit. So we're looking at this quite strongly, and we've begun negotiations with the credit union to see what this would look like for future developments. This is just a graphic representation about how it works. Sometimes pictures make it easier than words. So that's kind of how we would do it. This is another representation of this, and I'll just click through these slides. We have what we call our restricted building fund. It's a revolving fund, so that's the house in the middle. So we'd secure and build a home, sell it to our partner families. Families make mortgage payments. Family decides to sell their home and use that to hopefully move into market housing. And just as a side note, Habitat for Humanity Edmonton has been using a first lender model since about 2007. And what they have seen is generally partner families transition from Habitat housing into market housing between years 6 and 10. They take that equity, so the equity buyback includes the payments that you've put into it and and a percentage of, sorry, it's not my computer, percentage of equity growth. And the other thing that Edmonton's found that their partner families are doing with that equity buyout, so depending on the age of your family, many of their partner families are taking the buyout, moving into market rental, and using that equity growth to pay for their kids' education. So there is data to support the value of a partial lender or first lender mortgage model. It is a little challenging because, well, mostly because of the interest rates that are being charged today, but we're quite confident. And there's one more positive thing to it. The other piece that a first lender mortgage model does to support the financial stability of our partner families is we know what the mortgage payment is for a fixed term. We assess our classic or our traditional mortgages annually. So every year there's potential for your mortgage payment to change. So with the first lender model, the partner family knows what their mortgage payment's going to be for probably a term between 5 and 7 years. So they can plan that. And then they're far more comfortable, probably, or I'm assuming, this is what I'm told from other partner families, to take that raise, to take the advanced job, to declare that income, because they know that they know their mortgage payment is fixed. So we're, like I said, hopefully, we're going to pilot this in Summerside, and we are using Summerside as a pilot. Probably be late summer, early fall. So we're pretty excited about that. Another piece that we're doing, PEI, Habitat PEI is one of 6 affiliates piloting a home repair program. And if I click on this, will it? Okay, good. So the intent of the pilot is for Habitat affiliates to determine if providing critical repair, which is defined as a repair that allows people to live safely and legally in their homes, qualifies as us serving a family. So far, and to make it an sort of apples to apples comparison, it's a loans-based program. So PEI in our program, we've outlined that we're willing to support repairs of up to $15,000, which are repayable to us at 0 interest over a term of 10 years. Part of the challenge that we're having, it's a capacity problem, is finding people that can help us support the completion of those repairs. So currently we're looking for somebody to come join our team. When we're looking for somebody with strong project management and hopefully some knowledge or skilled trade experience in the construction industry. So it's kind of like finding unicorns these days, but that's what we're looking for. So far, we've completed 3 critical repairs. 2 were to our own partner families, homes that were damaged through Fiona, and 1 was to another community member. So we're hopeful that this will give us another means of serving families and allow us to reach demographics that we know we're not currently reaching, particularly seniors, and hopefully allow them to age in place. So that's a big part of what we've got and hope to do in the future. So I guess I put in 1 slide and took out the one that I wanted to finish with. So where we're going, so we're in the process now of finishing up. We committed to building 6 homes in 2022. So we will finish those 6 homes this year and transition 6 partner families. We've launched the critical repair program, or a home repair program. And right now we're looking for land to do high density or high impact projects. And for us, that looks like partnering with developers. We know that in order to increase our impact and serve more families, we have to do projects. They have to be more with less, more of an impact on the same piece of land. So in my mind, that looks like condos or townhouses. So we're looking at ways that we can partner with developers to execute that. But the big piece that we need, I have plans, I have partnerships. What we don't have is the right piece of land. So I'm asking you guys to please keep an eye out for big pieces of land. So thank you. And there's lots and lots more, and I could talk for a long time, but I know you guys have a big agenda. So if you have any questions?
I have one. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Bruce.
Thanks for the presentation. It was good. The models that you talked about this evening, I know previous, I think the ones that were finished in Summerside here before were rentals, but
We don't own them anymore.
I know, but they were supposed to be a rental program, was it not?
Yep.
And then
I think.
it was passed on to our province.
Yep.
Took them over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that model doesn't exist anymore?
We can do rental
Yeah.
if the intent is to transition people into affordable homeownership situations.
Okay.
I can't count, and I shouldn't say that. We can build rentals and manage them, but we can't count it as a family served.
Pardon?
We can't count it as a family served.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So in order for us to count it as a family served, they need to be mortgaged.
And the reason I ask that, and I think you know where I'm going, when they're owned, or they have a mortgage on them, and they're not looking after them or something like that, you don't have really too much to say because they hold the mortgage, right? Or but if you were renting, if you were holding them as a rental, then you do have something because you own them, right? So anyway, there's just those two models that I knew that you were dealing with, and I have a preference for one over the other.
I know you do. We're working on it. Part of the challenge and part of the communication pieces that we need to be better at sharing is, these are homeowners.
Yeah.
And, they're responsible as every other homeowner in the community is. And again, not only do people think that we give homes away, but that we own them.
Yeah.
So, that's a big piece of the communication that we need to get right going forward.
Okay, and my final question is, you say you're looking for a lot for how many units? If it was to be...
Depends on how big the lot is.
Okay.
I have really nice plans, Bruce, for 5 stack towns that could be as bang, bang, bang.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council, for Pam? Thanks, Pam, for sharing that with us and updating us on the developments with Habitat. And thank you for trying to help people unlock equity in housing and get people into helping narrow the divide that we're seeing spreading across communities here. It makes a really big difference in people's lives, and I wish we had more Habitat. And obviously, thank you for sharing with us what your needs are and what you're looking for.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll move on to the part that I think everyone's here for, which are the committee appointments. A soft joke. I'm going to jump into 5B first and come back to A. This is sort of a bit of housekeeping to a degree. This has already been shared with council, but one of the requirements, one of my roles here is to make appointments to committees. So I'm going to go through the list here. First, the new committee, Bylaw and Governance Committee. Making an appointment of Chair, Councillor Adams, and Vice Chair, Councillor Cameron. The next, Finance Committee, there is one change. Councillor Gallant is moving to Finance, and councillors, I'll send this out, which I think I already sent around, but I'll send it out again. Councillor Gallant is going to Finance Committee. Chair remains Councillor McDougall, Vice Chair, Councillor McColman. The Priorities and Planning Committee, myself as Chair, Vice Chair is the Deputy, and create in other cases with respect to priorities and planning, and update on bylaw and governance committees, what the terms and mandates are for those committees, and bring those back to Committee of the Whole at our next meeting, and share those with council. So what I'm proposing we do is those committees will set up, meet between now and then. We'll talk about what the expectations are for those committees and what their mandates are, and let the committees basically sculpt what those are, and then come back and share that with all of council at the next Committee of the Whole meeting. The other is I get the awesome opportunity here to make a representative appointment for Councillor Nick Cameron. Nick, appointing you as the representative for Human Resources, Governance, and Legal Affairs for the City of Summerside. I think you're going to do a fantastic job. I'm also making a slight amendment to Councillor Adams. So Councillor Adams is the representative for Emergency Services. It's going to be Emergency Services and Communications, which was Councillor Adams had before. And we had a conversation earlier that what I'd like to do is make sure that Councillor Cameron and Adams work together on the communications piece that we're working through here at the city, and we'll move it back at some point. It is a bit of a live issue, so we're figuring out the communications piece as a whole. But as I think someone mentioned earlier, it's getting to the fun part. So you've come in at the right time, Nick. So really happy to have you. Those are all of the appointments there, and I said, yeah, review and revise mandates as necessary. So now we'll move on to item 6, which is the introduction and reading of bylaws and resolutions. Councillor Duran, I think these are 1, 2, 3, 4, all yours. So if you would like to read the
They're all
resolutions
ours,
in.
but I'll,
Ours, yes, that's true, but you're carrying these, and then I'll call for the vote.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. We'll just kind of get right into it and start with Resolution COS 23-087. It was moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDougall. Whereas an application was received from 102913 PEI Inc., Tyler McDonald, for a restricted use to allow a medical office and retail space at 433, 437, and 447 Water Street. PID numbers 301234 and 301259. Lots have been consolidated to create a new lot, 22-1, in the high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas council may attach terms and conditions to the approval of a restricted use as per section 8.5E of the zoning bylaw, be it resolved that council approve a restricted use for a medical office and retail space at 433, 437, and 447 Water Street, PID number 301234 and PID number 301259. Lots have been consolidated to create new lot 22-1 in the high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, subject to the condition of a solid partition fence, 1.2 meters high, wood materials, being constructed by the applicant. This bears the recommendation of the Planning Board meeting of June 6th, 2023.
I wanted to pass on something from Councillor Snow. Is this the time that I should do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's not here this evening. I'll just read what he sent. Good evening, Mayor Kuchar and fellow councillors. I want to start by apologizing for my absence tonight. I have another commitment that I had to attend. That said, I feel it's very important for me to write to members of council to reiterate my opinion and stance on this application in front of us. First, I fully support the redevelopment of the property and support the application for the restricted use if the developer agrees to construct a fence around the property. As I had stated at the planning board meeting on this application, I strongly feel we are missing some requirements in our restricted use zoning requirements. The developer is asking for a C2, which would normally require fencing to be constructed. Because this property is zoned R4, this eliminates our requirement. That simply makes zero sense. The reality is that there will be a commercial business, one that I feel will have positive impacts on the area, operating on this property. I would ask my fellow councillors to do what we are within our rights to do and attach terms and conditions to the approval of the restricted use for section 8.5 of the zoning bylaw that requires a fence to be built as would be in other C2 zones. Thank you for reading this into the record, and I hope my fellow councillors support my request. And Deputy Mayor Snow. So that was in there.
So I guess most would remember that after the last meeting, there was sort of a bit of an agreement verbally, basically, that there would be a fence, and it's come to 1.2 meters. Is that 4 feet?
That sounds right.
Carry the 4. So I guess the stipulation, the agreement that Councillor Snow was referring to in his notes, he probably didn't realize, as we didn't realize until the package went out, that there is in fact conditions attached to it, so.
So yeah, that was agreed upon in the last meeting, and we have no issue or with any of that, and we were very agreeable at the planning meeting for that to move forward with that condition, so.
And it's literally part of the resolution, so that should shut him up, I guess. Corey Snow, Deputy Mayor, his honorable, yeah. Is he still online? Huh?
Thank you, Councillor Duran. And do you have a move by and
It was
second?
moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDougall.
Okay, so with respect to Resolution COS 23087, I would call for a vote. All in favor of Resolution COS 23087, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution is carried. On to the next one. Councillor Duran.
Okay. 2 of 4, Resolution COS 23-088, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Glant. Whereas an application was received from PEI Housing Corporation to amend the future land use plan for a portion of PID number 642900 from institutional land use to residential land use under the City of Summerside official plan. And whereas in accordance with Section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, Council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable. Conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for the proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents or other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city parking and parklands for accommodating the development, and any projected infrastructure requirements, impacts from the development on pedestrian or vehicular access and safety and on public safety generally, compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources, impacts on city finances and budgets, other matters as specified in this bylaw, and other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that Official Plan Amendment 0138 to amend the City of Summerside Official Plan be hereby formally adopted, and Schedule B is attached, showing just basically the plan, the layout of the property, where it is in respect to the map of the city, I guess. This bears the recommendation of the planning board meeting held on June 6th, 2023.
And Councillor, you have moved by and...
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Glant.
Okay, great, thank you. With respect to Resolution COS 23008, I would call for a vote. All in favor of the said resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution COS 23088 is so carried. Councillor Duran.
Resolution COS 23-088. It was just read. COS 23-089, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron. Whereas an application was received from PEI Housing Corporation for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 642900 from institutional I zone to low density mixed residential R2 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 0139, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read a first time at the council meeting held on May 18th, 2023. And whereas in accordance with Section 5.7 of the zoning bylaw, council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable. Conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, suitability of the site for the proposed development, compatibility of the proposed development with surrounding land uses, including both existing and projected uses, any comments from residents or other interested persons, adequacy of existing water, sewer, road, stormwater, and electrical services, city parking, and parklands for accommodating the development and any projected infrastructure requirements, impacts from the development on pedestrian or vehicular access and safety and on public safety generally, compatibility of the development with environmental, scenic, and heritage resources, impacts on city finances and budgets, other matters as specified in this bylaw, and other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that zoning amendment 0139, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby declared as read a second time. This bears the recommendation of the planning board meeting held on June 6th, 2023. Schedule B is attached, showing the layout of the property in the city.
Thank you, Councillor. With respect to Resolution COS 23-089, moved by Councillor Duran, seconded by Councillor Cameron. A call for a vote. All in favor of the said resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is so carried.
Resolution COS 23-090. I think a moment ago I said I was on 2 of 4. There's actually 5, so this is 3 of 5. 4 of 5. time is it? It's 8 o'clock, okay. COS 23-090, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McColman. Whereas an application was received from PEI Housing Corporation for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 642900 from institutional I zone to low-density mixed residential R2 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning bylaw amendment 0139, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, was read and declared as read at 2 separate meetings of council held on different days. Be it resolved that zoning bylaw amendment 0139, a bylaw to amend the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, be hereby formally adopted.
With respect to resolution COS 23090, moved by Councillor Duran, seconded by Councillor McColman. I'll now move to a vote. All in favor of said resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution is so carried.
And finally, resolution COS 23-091. This is the one that will probably be the most fun to say ever. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McColman, whereas Gary Ramsey is requesting council approval in accordance with Section 13 of the licensing bylaw CS21 to operate a mobile sales establishment, Frosty Freaks Ice Cream Treats. Love it. At 272 All-Weather Highway. Property owner Highcroft Farms, Inc. And whereas Section 13 of the licensing bylaw provides that council shall allow or refuse an application based on the following considerations: safety, desirability, impact on established businesses in the city, public convenience, and such other considerations as it deems appropriate. Be it resolved that council grant approval to Gary Ramsey to operate a mobile sales establishment, Frosty Freaks Ice Cream Treats, at 272 All-Weather Highway, Highcroft Farms, Inc., property owner. The license is subject to the following conditions: paying a license fee of $500 for a local business as per licensing bylaw CS21 regulations. A food health permit is approved by the province. Litter disposal containers are provided on site. Hours and days of operation, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. And letters of permission from property owner or owners for the proposed location, and connection of any pipe, hose, etc. to the city system requires city approval. This bears the recommendation of the planning board meeting of June 6th, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor. With respect to resolution COS 23091, moved by Councillor Duran, seconded by Councillor McColman. I'll now move that to a vote. All in favor of said resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so carried. And that is the end of section 6. 4 of 5, 5 of 5.
5 of 5.
5 of 5.
Frosty Freaks.
Just
Ice
matters
cream.
where you end up. The next, we move into council reports. Council want to take a 2 or 3 minute recess, or do you want to continue through? Get her done. All right. You bet. Yep, you bet. As well, I just remind council that you're not required to read everything before you in the report. You can pick and choose to a degree. All of the information that is contained in your reports is on the record for the city. And we did have, CAO and I had a conversation earlier today just talking about we're going to try and ensure consistency across all of the reports from the different departments, to sort of highlight some of the key paragraphs, and then provide the bullet point information afterwards in order to make it a more consistent process. The other one, Councillor Cameron, I guess you will take on the HR, so you can jump ahead, and so you're not reading blind, but that's okay. So we'll begin. First, 7A, Councillor McDougall, you're up.
Thank you. I'll be as short as I can. I'm used to being short. I have a report here by Director Kristen Lund. And good evening to my colleagues, City Council, and businesses and residents of the city. Our utility accounts receivable as of June 19th, 2023 is as follows. Total overdue balance is $202,500 compared to $121,000 at June 14th, 2022. Now, I must say that that number, I checked that number was a couple of weeks ago, so I checked before I came, and it's around 180,000 now. So the trend over the 60 days past due is still higher than in past number of years. Disconnections for non-payment are occurring, and we strongly encourage customers who have an outstanding balance of greater than 60 days to address their overdue balances. Staff are preparing for our external auditors. Grant Thornton will be coming on site for our annual audit, and our preliminary results project for a small surplus for 22-23. And just a customer portal is available where you can review your account details at www.summerside.ca. And that's basically all I have, Your Worship. And I just have a comment that I'd like to make. I'd like to thank the Stormwater Management Committee, Ditch and Hill / or whatever you call it, for hosting the public meeting the other night. I thought it was a real good conversation that was had between the council and the municipality that was looking at this issue. So I thought it was a good meeting, and hopefully some positive stuff will come out of it, and we'll get this behind us. The other thing I had was, I find it more this year than other years, is the number of long grass complaints I'm getting. It's unbelievable this year. There's some people that never started their mower yet, and it just makes their neighbors look bad. It causes their neighbors to not want to report them, but they call their counselor, and so I'd urge, the people out there that if they can't, cut their grass, and we need to help them or do something, because there's a large number of them. I know I could probably count about 5 on my way from my home to here. So, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Next, move on to B. Councillor Cameron, representative for Governance, HR, and Legal Affairs.
Mine's relatively short, so I'll read the whole thing. There's only 10 points. Tanner McDougall and Jamie Adams were successful applicants for the ice maker competition. Dimitri Pogrebnoy was the successful applicant for the IT assistant position. Sam Arsenault was the successful applicant for the renewable plant energy product supervisor. Peggy Mills was Miles was the successful applicant for the culture property assistant position. Job competitions are currently underway for wastewater treatment plant supervisor and police constable. The credit union place is seeking customer service staff and lifeguards. The Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee and department subcommittees continue to meet on a regular basis. A review of the city's occupation health and safety program is ongoing, with updates being made as required. The Staff Appreciation Barbecue and Long Service Award are planned for June 29th on the grounds of the Wyatt properties. And lastly, to kind of go back to the first one, congratulations to Paul Flanagan, who retired as an ice maker on June 1st.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. I know one day you will hopefully say a successful applicant for a bylaw officer, and you will get a thunderous roar of applause from council.
I will wait for it.
I'd like to move on to item C, is Representative Adams, Emergency Services.
Thank you, Worship. And good job, Nick. Usually that's one of mine, so it's awesome. So Summerside Police Services and Chief Walker did this up, and I don't know if there's any way to shorten it, because I'm sure he has already, because they are constantly on the go. The Major Crime Unit School Resource Officer and Youth Outreach Worker, which is Dave Ellis, did a presentation at the Three Oaks Cafeteria on May 10th. These people spoke to parents and students on sharing intimate images, sexual assault, etc., involving children that are at various stages in the school system, and there were a number of parents in attendance. The annual Police Special Olympic Torch Run was held on May 6th, and 3 of the police officers participated. Dale, did you? Maybe. No pressure. They participated in the event, and one of our police vehicles led the runners for a portion of the run. Constable Mallory Metallic is organizing a bike rodeo this Saturday, June 24th at the Credit Union Place, and it's nice for this to be happening again. This is always a big event. It's at Credit Union Place parking lot from 10 to 12. The police service would like to thank all businesses and those who have donated items for the prizes for this event. During the month, a number of our members have received domestic violence refresher training, phased interview training, and pros training. We would like to also welcome Constable Derek Purcell as part of the team. Constable Purcell comes to us with considerable police experience from the Ottawa Police Service. We would like to also welcome Cadet Constable Amber Dyer to our force as part of her on-the-job training at the Atlantic Police Academy. And that's really hard to believe because you just think of her as a little girl, so that's pretty awesome. Amber grew up in Summerside, and we look forward to having her join us for her OJT. I'd also like to report on the great work that the new traffic section has been doing throughout the city. The police service issued 276 tickets under the Highway Act in the month of May. Our school resource officer, Constable Gina Lisi, reports doing several presentations to students in a number of schools in the Summerside area. The topics were on safety and in particular internet safety. She also investigated a number of complaints within the school and provided guidance to students. I'd like to commend Constable Lisi on the excellent job she has done in the SRO position during the school year. Her outgoing, pleasant personality and professionalism has allowed her to earn the respect of students, parents, and school staff. And there's no questions on that one, so we can all promote the bike rodeo on this coming Saturday. The next one would be fire services, and that is collected by Ken Culleton. So for May 2023, there were 39 calls paged out during the month. Firefighters trained for 361 and a half hours in May. Just a couple notes, congratulations to Barry Hippenstall and Max Bartlett. Both recently completed all the necessary requirements to become level 1 firefighters. And this year-long journey involves hundreds of hours of dedicated training and many, many personal sacrifices. So job well done. Solar farms are quite new to Summerside, and they require a whole new level of strategy in the event of an emergency situation. Even though there's only a small chance that our fire service will get called out to a solar farm, we have been touring the facilities and pre-planning in the event of an emergency. For the 10-year period leading up to 2016, yes, these are sort of an interesting numbers. So the 10-year period leading up to 2016, Summerside averaged 206 fire calls a year. For the next 5 years, 2016 on, they've seen the average go to 268 calls a year. Last year, the number jumped to 355 calls, the largest volume ever. This year, we are only at the halfway point. They are on pace for over 400 calls for the year. Among other factors is population growth and extreme weather that seem to be playing a large role in keeping our fire departments busy. And from all of us in here and anybody, all our residents, we thank them for that. And that's all I have, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Adams, and for all members of our Summerside Police Department and all volunteer firefighters here in the city of Summerside, keeping the people safe. That is one of our primary, if not our primary goal here as a municipality. Next, Municipal Services, Councillor Gallant.
Your Worship, colleagues, Public Works, Water, Sewer highlights. Public Works completed the installation of all temporary speed bumps for the season on the areas identified as high-speed violations for neighborhoods. They will stay in place until November. Fiona tree debris chipping has begun. It's 10% completed. Traffic line painting has commenced in some stop bars and crosswalks are being painted. There is on the website all the lists of the side streets and main streets that will be done from June to the end of September. In the month of June, the work at Harvard Street substation was completed for the connection of the new Sunbank project in the Somerset electric grid, with the expected date of the Sunbank project to be on September 29th, 2023. Public Works, street sweeping and cleaning began this month, will continue until the end of November. Water break repairs were started this month and removing contract from winter work and replacing it with asphalt. All required speed bumps have been installed for the year. Water and sewer, 18 water service turn-offs this month. 1 water break was replaced on Pope Road. 1 water service repair for the month on Vivy Lee Trailer Park. 1 new water service line installed for the community gardens on Central Street. And 8 sewer manholes were replaced on the corner of South Drive and Pope Road. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Councillor Gallant. I'll move on to Councillor Morrison, representative for Community Services and Tourism.
Thank you, Your Worship. Credit Union Place was roaring on Victoria Day with Monster Spectacular arriving to the Island Petroleum Energy Centre. The event consisted of 4 monster trucks, lawnmower races, 2 freestyle dirt bike riders pulling off intense backflips, and other on-wheel stunts. The event is a community favorite, opening the doors to more than 2,500 event goers to Credit Union Place. And I did happen to be there for that event, and it took a couple of grandkids. They never moved from their seat the whole time it was on, so I rated that as pretty good. The Dome continues to be busy with countless bookings into May, including baseball, softball, soccer, football, and the like. The Veterans Convention Center inside Credit Union Place was busy during the month of May, hosting 32 different conventions. May was field trip season, so many schools are eager to host their year-end fun inside Credit Union Place, primarily welcoming grades K to 6 at the Cup. And also a French school from Charlottetown dropped in to take in the facility. Box office has remained steady with tickets for Jerry Seinfeld on August the 12th selling fast, and tournament packages for the World U17 Hockey Challenge arriving in November going on sale. And Active Living in Summerside has wrapped up their PD Day camps for the school year. Lots of happy campers with full camps on each PD day. And they're now preparing for the 3rd annual Shipwrights Run that is kicking off on June 24th right in front of Credit Union Place. And if you'd like to register, please check out Active Living on Facebook at Active Living Summerside. I'd like to thank JP who prepared this report, Director JP, and I believe it's Deputy CAO. I'd also like to mention, and of course this didn't happen last month, but I took in some of the road hockey, I shouldn't say, the Noah Dobson Hockey Festival on the 7th and 8th of June, I believe, were the dates, and I could just say that it was a great success. There was amazing a number of people around. Plus, there was also an event going on inside the facility that weekend, so good to see, and everybody had a lot of fun. So I guess it's going to be something that continues down the road too, and we're going to grow it by the looks of things. So, any questions? Ask away, and we'll try to answer them.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. I was also there that Sunday. I had 3 events on Sunday morning. I was there at 10 to 9 on a Sunday. The place was already bumping, and there were 500 people inside, there were 1,000 people outside. It was just what a fantastic facility, and you know, the staff as well, making it all happen seamlessly inside out, from a lunch with visitors to the party inside. Anyway, just fantastic. So great work to you and the whole team there at the Cup. Next, Councillor McColman, representative for Arts, Culture, and Diversity.
Thank you, Your Worship. And good evening to all of my colleagues and members in the gallery. I'd like to thank Director Laurie Ellis for preparing this report. No pressure. I'm just giving you all of the information of everything that's going on this summer, so I can't shorten very important announcements. I'm sorry. The spirit of Canada's Famous Five are spending the summer in Summerside. The Famous Five is a display of miniature maquette of the famous five women are persons. Monuments in Calgary and in front of the Senate in Ottawa will be on display at the Lafergie Cultural Centre until the end of September as part of a national leadership tour to inspire women and girls to be leaders. Based on its professionalism, Culture Summerside was chosen by the Famous Five Foundation to host the exhibit on Prince Edward Island, and that is a real honor for that department. The exhibit has arrived at Lafergie following its stay at the Ontario Legislative Assembly. Frances Wright, co-founder of the Famous Five Foundation, will be in Summerside for an official opening of the exhibit on July 19th and will present a talk. Who are the Famous Five and why is this so important? The Famous Five Democratic champions through the person's case, which was decided on October 18th, 1929, secured the rights for most Canadian women to vote, run for elected office, and to serve as Canadian senators. Emily Murphy, Henrietta Edwards, Irene Parbley, Louise McKinney, and Nellie McClung also individually influenced provincial and federal legislation for dower rights, mother's allowances, minimum wage for women workers, the establishment of libraries, medical clinics, and traveling medical clinics. And for all of the things that we stand for on council around housing and homelessness and those kinds of initiatives, these five women were the pioneers and the forerunners to make those things happen, to help people in need. Other things coming up are the Old Fashioned Carnival, and it's happening on Friday, June 23rd from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The carnival has become an important community celebration which many, many families and school-aged children and visitors alike look forward to every year. Wyatt Heritage Properties Incorporated, Culture Summerside, the Harbourfront Theatre, the College of Piping and Celtic Performing Arts of Canada, La Belle Alliance, the EPTEC Art and Culture Centre, and the Summerside Rotary Library have all come together in July to amplify and celebrate our community's cultural and arts programming for the 2023 Summerside Arts Festival, scheduled for July 17th, 18th, and 19th. Together, we will be delivering an exciting lineup that will encompass hundreds of creative opportunities and presentations. The 3 days are filled with art and artisan demonstrations, live music, theater, presentations, a drive-through art exhibit, gallery visits, radio drama, presentations, children's activities, maker space opportunities, an outdoor chalk project, roving magician shows, a sculpture garden, rock painting, and much more. And everybody is invited to many of these free events. The Summerside Lobster Carnival program, July the 6th through 8th, is already set. And we want to thank all of the community organizations and business sponsors, volunteers, newcomers, students that are working to build a very strong community profile, and the senior staff and summer intern students at Culture Summerside. I've lost my place. Culture Summerside would like to thank any counselors who have already signed up and expressed an interest in getting involved. And if anyone is looking for details, they can be found all lowercase by checking summersidelobstercarnival.ca. Also, there will be all kinds of opportunities for people to be involved as volunteers, and we're just inviting the whole community out to many of these events. In closing, I just want to say that the tour season is well underway at the Culture Summerside sites. 7 summer students have been hired, are training and delivering tours throughout different venues of Culture Summerside. And that concludes the report, Your Worship and Council.
Thank you, Councillor. A lot of fantastic things happening. Also,
I was tripping over the words because I was trying to go so fast, but I thought it was really important to get all of that out so people know.
absolutely, yeah, and it is, and we want people to come out, and these are fantastic events. I'd also just note, it's probably incumbent on me to invite the Mayor of Shediac, Roger Casey, to our lobster carnival, and I believe he is supposed to do the same. We spoke about it twice in the last week and a half, although we did speak a lot about a buoy that apparently is now in Shediac but has to come back to Summerside. So we'll work on the particulars. Bruce is the guiding hand on some of that, but maybe we can make sure to get that invitation out. Moving on to Councillor Snow, who is not here today, representative for Economic Development and Growth. I don't know if Councillor Snow spoke to anyone. If not, I'm happy to read Councillor Snow's report in here, and it is brief. Client servicing, the office continues to service requests for community integration support for new workers and healthcare locums looking to move permanently or temporarily into Summerside. Given the pent-up demand for workers, the office has spent significant time assisting individuals with accommodations, community information, and support service information to assist in the smooth transition to Summerside. Eco Park Building 1, the new passive certified net zero industrial complex at the Summerside Eco Park, is 1 month into start of construction. If you've noticed driving down Greenwood Drive, this 16,600 square foot state-of-the-art leading net zero design is expected to be open sometime in 2024. And I would add, I believe it will be Prince Edward Island's at least first passive certified net zero industrial complex. Last, the Duke of Edinburgh Commonwealth Study Group. The EDO is pleased to participate as a panelist in the Clean Tech Roundtable with the Minister of the Environment. I can still read, and AKA, which is Aspen Kemp and Associates, with 30 leaders interested in clean economies as part of their conference study group. The discussion centered on building clean tech ecosystems and was both an informative and lively discussion. And I'd just ad lib as well that I also met with the Duke of Edinburgh Commonwealth Study Group, study conference, and what an incredible, diverse, eclectic, intelligent, just experienced group of individuals who were visiting Summerside, who were very interested in all that we were doing on the eco park and on the solar farm, and also on what makes Summerside tick. It was a really eye-opening experience and a wonderful thing to be part of, and a lot of them left with some real excitement for Summerside and some real optimism for the future. Sorry, I've ad-libbed that and then made it longer, so that is me reading for Councillor Snow for Economic Development and Growth. The last one would be me, Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities. And I had, between the last meeting and today, I've not had a FPIM meeting. Bruce, was there an FPIM meeting? They are going to maybe kick me off of the board. It is. Please continue. I've written them. I told them, but it is nothing against FPIM. It is just a series of poor scheduling.
The one for this month is being postponed, so.
Perfect.
We're moving along. But we did have the Atlantic mayors that you might want to.
Yeah, I can touch base on that, a few different things. It's been a busy couple of weeks, 2.5 weeks, lots of comings and goings. So I attended the Atlantic Mayors Conference in Amherst, Nova Scotia, weekend before this past one. It was a valuable time. Mayors from across the Atlantic region discussing a number of issues that affect our communities. Wonderful representation from New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Labrador, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. There were a number of policy discussions, and as well as some discussions on the relevancy and purpose and future of the Atlantic Mayors Congress itself. So I would expect there's also a new ED stepping into the role, and I think that will provide some value and some benefit to the organization, because certainly when Atlantic mayors speak as one, we can be a loud voice. There were two items that did come up that were put on for policy issues. One was with respect to let's see if I can make sure I get this right, the Isthmus of Chignecto, which is basically the strip of land that is tenuous at best between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. And there's some very real and serious concerns that with an extreme weather event, Nova Scotia and could be cut off from the rest of Canada. That is a two-way street. There's billions, I think $40 billion a year in shipping that comes into Nova Scotia that goes to Chicago primarily, but also to the rest of Canada. So the mayors called on the province and the federal government to come up with a plan, essentially. The other was, there was a discussion on universal basic income. The Atlantic Mayors Congress voted in favor of support, again requesting the province and the federal government look to instituting a form of universal basic income. I did commit to bring forward a resolution to this council, so I will do that at our committee of the whole meeting. And can put it before this council. It's been done at other councils across Atlantic Canada, and it did raise the question of what, as mayors there, are we speaking on behalf of our councils, or are we speaking as a mayor separate from council? And we certainly wear different hats. Not everything that gets discussed there can come from all of the councils and get vetted its way through. So it basically is a forum that potentially could have better use, has done a lot of great things, has made a significant impact, even right to here in Summerside with respect to water waste treatment plant. A lot of the water waste treatment infrastructure that was rolled out across Atlantic Canada came as a result of some initiatives spearheaded with the Atlantic Mayors Congress. So I think there's value there. As well, the next one is they didn't tell me it was twice a year until I was there. The next one is in Happy Valley Goose Bay in the fall. As well, at the meeting, it rotates from province to province. So I put forward a motion to host the spring event for Atlantic Mayors Congress here in Summerside. The mayors in June. It's still spring. June is spring. Early after last week, it felt like spring. As well, the Congress now wants to include CAOs, so that would probably be around 50 to 60 delegates here in Summerside over the course of 2 or 3 days. As well, the second piece was one of the other discussions there was the new executive director brought forward a suggestion to hold another conference basically in conjunction with the Congress around, I wish I had the language, but how municipal government and leaders interact in a safe way, in a constructive way with residents. There's very particular language that I can't really encapsulate, and I can share that with council. But the overwhelming response, there was a lot of interest. And then I did say that, hey, we could do that in Summerside too. So if that goes ahead, then we'll have two things happening, and so people will need to book their hotels and conference spaces. But great to share and to be able to showcase some of the wonderful things we're doing here in Summerside with colleagues across Atlantic Canada. The last one too, I was at Event Atlantic. I guess I might as well highlight that. Last week, representing the city on a mayor's panel in St. John's and participating in the Event Atlantic Conference, which is the organizations and municipalities who work and share information and experience in event, sports, tourism, and event and events. It was a great opportunity and chance to promote our city, to showcase all the things that we're doing, to get up and speak in front of, again, the people who are doing these types of programming and events across Atlantic Canada, and to put Summerside on the map there. We're with the Mayor of St. John's, the Mayor of Edmundston, and Mayor of, I'll draw a blank, don't tell him. Oh yeah, yeah, with Percy from Gander. Don't forget the Mayor of Gander. Anyhow, also a good opportunity to showcase and sell our city, and that is one of my roles as well, to try and make sure we continue to attract fantastic events to showcase our infrastructure here and bring economic development and growth to our community. So those are some updates from those activities. We already concluded our in-camera last item there, 8A, earlier in the evening. Is there anything else council would like to put on? Councillor Duran.
My report wasn't in the agenda.
Oh, I skipped. How did I skip you? I always skip
Director,
somebody. Oh, because it's not in here.
I have it.
Oh,
Director
no, you are
Aaron
here.
was
I put a check mark.
late getting in, and
That's me. I did that to Councillor McColman last time.
Oh, no.
I skipped Councillor, so.
so I hate to keep everybody here.
No,
for
sorry.
45
I
seconds.
almost got you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Councillor. I appreciate
Oh,
I
please,
apologize.
please.
Yeah.
I'll get this done
I don't
before
know
we
why I
have
gave you a
one
check
another
mark.
rolling back.
I didn't give Norma one.
I could
Councillor
ta- I
Duran,
could
yeah,
table it.
Representative for Technical Services.
your pens back
We just
out.
hear from
We're
you
not done
so
yet.
often. Go ahead.
Tech Services, I would like to thank Aaron McDonald, of course, for submitting this. Better late than never, but he was away and I got it. So if anybody wants it, I can certainly send it out, no problem. So the majority of our projects and tenders have started throughout the city. Staff have a city map showing the locations of planned projects for the year ahead. And this information has been added to our city website, and we'll continue to update this information on the website as those projects proceed throughout the season. 28 building permits with a value of just over $27.4 million were issued for the month of May. And that brings us up to a year-to-date total of $46.9 million. The permit value of 27.4 for this month alone would have equaled our yearly totals from 2005 to 2018, with the exception of 3 years. This year-to-date total of 47 million would be our highest year-end total, matching last year's total with the exception of 2021. For the 6-year period from 2017 to 2022, we've been around the $42 million mark, with 1 year significantly below and 1 year significantly over that amount. Couple apartment complexes recently broke ground, a 44 unit on Water Street, a 10 unit on Cedar Street, and a 64 unit on Tower Street. Developers are stopping in and speaking to staff for assistance with their proposed projects. And now is also a great time for our citizens to ask for assistance with their projects that they may have planned for this year. And that concludes Tech Services and the June council meeting.
Thank you, Councillor, and I just note that because the Tech Services report isn't in here, I was following one after the other, two lists.
Understood.
So it has
Forgive
nothing to do with you.
Oh, never.
I'm glad it's there. So we can just make sure that it's in the documentation that's posted publicly.
Can I
With
ask you
that, yes,
a
Councillor,
question?
did I miss you? I
Not
didn't, you didn't get
to-
missed
no,
either?
not to drag this
No,
out
go
any
ahead.
longer, but the Go Fish mobile, yeah, so it's there now. By the boardwalk across from Staples. And somebody had asked me, who has an electric car, because it's parked in the electric car spots. And so the chargers are now behind the mobile establishment. So is something fishy, yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
Does anybody, I just said I'd ask, so.
Yeah, yeah, staff are aware of that and are working on a solution. There are a few electrical issues to work through, but, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors? Did you raise your hand? No? All right, folks, we'll adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you very much, as always. Always a pleasure to see you and spend time with all of you. Thanks.